Hey there, welcome back to Film Lads. This is our second episode here. Today we're going to discuss two movies, 2018's Widows, and as well as The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. As always, I'm joined by Victor and Nolan.
Say How are you?
Yeah. Hey, how's it going?
All right. So just quickly, we're going to give a little spoiler warning for both these movies. If you haven't seen it and you don't want to be spoiled for either movie, go watch those movies and come back and listen to this. And then feel free to join in the discussion. All right. So we're going to start off with Widows here. Steve McQueen's newest. What were your guys' initial opinions?
Well, for me, I mean, when I go into a Steve McQueen movie, I have certain expectations. Like, I've only seen 2 films from him. He doesn't have that many movies. I'm missing Hunger, but I've seen Shame and 12 Years a Slave. And just, yeah, when I go into a Steve McQueen movie, I have expectations of, like, very unique presentation and just, like, a certain tone. And the tone of this movie and the presentation were very toned down, I thought, for, like, the Steve McQueen movies that I have seen. And I just found that it was a style that, like, he did well, but it's not really what I want from him. And yeah, that was my initial reaction.
Yeah, for me, basically the kind of same reaction as Victor. I've also seen 2 Steve McQueen films. I've seen 12 Years a Slave and Shame. And both of them I thought were brilliant. For me, 12 Years a Slave is like one of my all-time favorite movies. So I obviously had a lot of high expectations going into Widows, but I was definitely disappointed by it. I am not loving this film, and I'm not over the moon for it like a lot of other people are. But I can definitely see that there are some moments of brilliance in it, and some really well shot scenes that I was kind of taken away by, and I was like, oh, there's Steve McQueen. I haven't seen the Steve McQueen that I know and love in the other scenes. But yeah, overall, I was pretty disappointed.
All right, now for me to join in on this, I've also seen 2 Steve McQueen films. I'm the only one here who's seen Hunger, and I've seen 12 Years a Slave as well. So missing out on Shame, but I'm going to watch that soon because highly recommended from many people, including the both of you. Yeah, this film to me was disappointing by Steve McQueen standards, but I know I did like the movie more than both of you. Mm-hmm. What I wanted to touch on, I guess, first of all, was the movie is a change of pace in the fact that the other films were more drama-based. Mm-hmm. This is more of a popcorn action flick, not in terms of necessarily a traditional sense, but it is at the end of the day like a heist film. Mm-hmm. So for sure, do you think that played into your enjoyment of the film, like since you guys liked it less?
Probably, I would say so.
Well, I knew that it was a heist film going in, obviously, but I had heard from various critics and reviews that I had read that this was like a really new and original and fascinating take on the heist film. And for me, I just didn't get that personally when I watched the movie. To me, it felt like it sort of, if I had no idea that Steve McQueen directed this movie going in, and if I just saw the movie and then after one of you guys told me that, I don't know, Ben Affleck directed this movie, I would have believed you. Which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's definitely, I don't view Ben Affleck as a director on the same level as Steve McQueen from his other 2 films.
Well, personally speaking, my opinion on action flicks is I definitely find more enjoyment in the ones that take themselves less seriously, to be honest. For example, in terms of heist movie, I haven't seen Ocean's 11, but Logan Lucky, like, I fucking love that movie so much. Mm-hmm. Just because it's silly. It's not taking itself too seriously. So I think that played into how much I enjoyed this movie a little. But mainly, yeah, I was disappointed by how much the Steve McQueen style exudes in this film, or like
Mm-hmm.
we talked about, or you guys bring this up earlier, that there's some scenes where it's like clear that this is Steve McQueen film. Should we quickly discuss our like highlights of the film, or go in depth to the highlights?
Yeah,
Sure.
I feel like there are standout scenes that deserve to be talked about. Like
there's a standout performance.
Yeah.
Easily.
Oh, there are a few in my opinion.
There's one for me that just stands out.
I think we have the same one probably.
I think we've talked about this outside of the podcast.
Yeah.
But the one performance we're talking about is
Daniel Kaluuya.
Yeah.
We all agree that he's the best in that movie.
Oh, he was insane.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
it was terrifying.
Yeah, his character wasn't anything really special, I don't think. Like, because it's just like kind of a standard heist movie, like we've said already. But the way he played it was like genuinely scary. Like, he was a genuinely scary villain to me.
Yeah.
Just what he was able to do with his eyes, especially that scene in the gym, which I'm sure we're going to talk about. Yeah, just
that fucking gym, man.
Just the way he's staring that guy down is just like awesome.
That's a perfect transition, because we were just talking about, like, I was talking about how we're going to bring up the highlight scenes.
Yeah,
that
was one of them.
A highlight for me. Like,
that was maybe the highlight for
yeah.
me. Like, that was easily my favorite scene.
The way the camera moves around the subjects, and then the way their bodies move.
I know,
because the camera's moving
while they're moving. It's
and
very well choreographed.
They're moving too. The choreograph is like, it's almost like a dance, and you get that sense because there's a rhythm.
There is a rhythm with the guys rapping and the guys beatboxing.
The beatboxing,
yeah,
and it just flows so incredibly well.
Totally.
And then the disruption of that flow is so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my god.
Yeah, that's a great scene, and like basically every scene that Daniel Kaluuya was in, he was the highlight and kind of brought the movie up for me. Because like all the other characters, especially the lead characters, like the widows, to me, they were. I don't know. I'm speaking for myself. I found them all pretty uninteresting.
I totally agree. I couldn't get into any of them, and that one girl's name, I forget her name, but Nolan's got the IMDb right here. There's one girl I can't stand. She's in the Fast and Furious movies.
Is it the?
She's one of the widows. She's one of
Michelle Rodriguez.
Yeah, I cannot stand her personally. I don't know what it is, and I didn't think her performance was too great. And like you said, the main characters weren't that interesting, but like they still gave some great performances, especially Viola Davis. But just I found Michelle Rodriguez distracting. Yeah. Personally, like I know it wasn't horrible, but it definitely wasn't as good as any of the other main performances.
Sorry, going back here, like we're jumping ahead because I thought we were like discussing
the highlights
here, and I was about to drop a point.
We'll get back.
We'll talk. Nolan brought up the main characters.
We'll talk about the performances 100%. But
that was my bad.
Getting back on this, I love the way in the gym scene where obviously it ends with that shooting of both of them.
Yeah.
And this is the first major piece of violence in the film. But to me, there's a line earlier in the movie that sort of hints at this violence coming through. But when the line is delivered, we don't understand how the violence will come through. It's something like, sorry, Nolan, what's the guy's name on IMDb there? Oh yeah, the character Jamal Manning. He drops a line.
That's the brother, right?
Yeah. He drops a line in reference to the political rival where he's like, they're fighting with something, but we're fighting with guns. And we don't understand necessarily what that line means. And then, like, this is only a few scenes later, we get this actual scene of violence. And then you're like, oh, he wasn't kidding around. Because you don't necessarily see these two characters using violence in the beginning. You think they're more genuine.
They look more innocent at the beginning of the movie for sure. Like I could tell something was up with them, but they definitely aren't presented like that, like the way they were shown later.
To me, it was really shocking, to be honest. And
I didn't expect it.
I thought that's why the guy who played Jamal Manning there, the guy from Atlanta, Nolan, what's his name there?
His name is Brian Tyree Henry.
Yeah, I thought his performance was really well done too, because you have this initial intention of, I guess, you think he's trying to better the community, but then he drops this line to Viola Davis's character where he's talking about the money that Liam Neeson stole, and he's like, "That's my life. You guys took away my life, my future." So it seems more this is a personal thing for him, where he's just trying to better his life. It's not about the community or anything like that. And to me, like, that was a big theme of the movie, where both sides of the politicians, they both didn't want to run the campaign for the reasons that one would hope they're running for. You know, the other guy was just doing it because it was a family lineage thing. Sorry, went off on a bit of a tangent there.
Well,
all good.
Going off on what you were saying about that character, the character of Jamal, Daniel Kaluuya's brother, I loved his eyes in the movie. Like, not just Daniel Kaluuya's eyes, but like they both kind of had a similar look on their faces.
Yeah, totally.
Throughout the whole movie, there was that scene with what was it? Was it the priest?
The pastor.
The pastor.
Yeah.
When Jamal was just sitting there and like his eyes were just
totally
like, bloodshot.
Totally.
You know, he kind of looked fried a little bit, but it was like the good kind of like, this guy's so serious and intent on getting what he wants.
And he doesn't waste time at all. He's like, "Oh, you're not gonna support me? Let's leave now." He's like so ready to leave.
Yeah.
I love that bit of his character too, where he's just like, no nonsense. He's not taking any shit.
Because it was the scene started off so polite. Like, it was, you know, this scene with this character who we thought was like so fucked up from before, from other scenes, that maybe this will be different because they're so polite and everything, and so quickly it changes.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of like Gus Fring from Breaking Bad, where it's like when he needs to be in public, he has like such this polite facade, I guess. Where like then when you see him in private, he's just kind of like dead-eyed and like.
That's a good comparison.
Yeah.
So it's a very like businessman approach.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Which is sorry, go ahead.
No.
Which is pretty funny actually when you think about it, because it's supposed to be the other character, the other politician, who's the businessman.
The businessman guy, yeah.
And the difference between them is, to me, is like amazing, because the other one just
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell. I don't know why I forgot Colin Farrell's name. Colin Farrell. I have something to say about him later on. Remind me to do that. But his character plays it so like polite and charismatic too. Except when you get these moments of, I guess, truth, where he reveals how he's really feeling.
Totally.
I was gonna say, you know how in real life with real politicians, people describe how they are in person as, oh, you know, they say things like, oh, he's way different off camera, or oh, he's not like that at all. We literally, this was one of my favorite scenes in the movie. McQueen literally shows us what he's like off camera in the car scene when he like turns the camera away. I found that to be a brilliant scene.
That was a brilliant scene.
It wasn't just a cool way of presenting a scene. we're showing what this guy's like off camera, as people would talk about with politicians.
So I was just gonna make that transition as well, a great transition, because we're just going back to the best scenes of the movie. That was the other one that I thought was a incredible standout. Especially one thing I loved about that scene is it cuts the car in half, so we start from the passenger side, but once race is brought into the conversation, it transitions to the other side of the car, and that's when you notice the driver of the car is black, right? So it adds so much to me to that scene, and I was just like, holy shit.
Totally.
Yeah, that scene was definitely a standout.
Yeah.
Anything else on because
on that scene?
Yeah, because I have like another thing to say. Like, I love the way just the windows of the car, you can only see their shadows.
Yeah. And
it's almost like voiceover. Well, it is voiceover, but we still see them. We understand.
We know where they are.
Yeah, we understand it. Like, obviously it's voiceover recorded separately, but the conversation's still happening within the camera frame. So traditionally that wouldn't be voiceover, right? Unless you were dubbing things over. It's just we can't see their mouths moving, and to me that adds a bunch, because it's taking away any character expression, and it's all about the voices here. And you can definitely hear some interesting things in the voices of both characters, what's the name of the assistant to Colin Farrell?
Give me a sec.
If we can find that. But her voice, she kind of delivers a great line in the car, I think, too.
Siobhan.
Yeah,
Siobhan's her name. Molly Coons is the actress.
she delivers a great line where she's saying like don't pussy out, like this is your fucking time, like just fucking no nonsense either.
Well, that was dope too, because like she hasn't said anything in the
Yeah.
movie. I was wondering like why she was so quiet, but I like that McQueen kind of reserved that character and kind of saved an outburst for her when they were in the car.
Yeah, 100%. And she's just, to me, she's exactly like the Manning's character, because she's no nonsense in the exact same way. Same thing with the dad to me. Colin Farrell's dad. Yeah. Like
Robert
those
Duvall.
Those three characters all play like a similar no nonsense business approach.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Any other standout scenes to you guys?
The bowling alley scene was pretty great.
The bowling alley scene as well.
I couldn't get into the bowling alley scene as much because it was a good scene, but we were just talking about
There'll be blood.
There'll be blood, and Daniel Day-Lewis's.
I
turned to Victor during the movie, and you guys, like both you guys, and I just was like, doing the Daniel Day-Lewis breathing.
That's funny, because when I originally saw the bowling, I don't know if I turned to you and said this, but I wanted to. I was about to be like, the Big Lebowski.
No, you did turn
I was like,
Lebowski.
Is this the Big Lebowski?
I thought of that too.
So it's just like bowling has this certain association.
So many iconic scenes
in bowling alleys.
Yeah, what's with that?
Yeah,
but I totally agree with you.
Yeah, just like we said, any scene with Daniel Kaluuya, really, like when he kills Viola Davis's character's the driver.
Oh,
it was his name's Baddie
or something.
Bash or like
Bash.
Yeah, it was Bash.
Yeah, that scene was great. I love that, and like I love how the camera starts off just like seeing the people like about to kill Bash. Was it
Bash?
And then like the camera just goes to Daniel Kaluuya, and he's just like, he's not even looking, like he's just like turning on the TV.
I love that.
Like,
he turns up the volume too.
No, but he doesn't sit down like proper at all. He kind of gets.
He kind of like slouches
back.
Yeah. It's like
it
was like this is it. This was his own home.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that scene was good. I really liked the scene. There were a couple of other things I liked in the film, like the scene when we got that flashback to what happened with Viola Davis and Liam Neeson's son in the car. I thought that was a really powerful scene, and it really kind of, to me, reflect on certain things going on in today's society.
Oh, for sure.
And it really like put you in that situation.
I love the context of that scene too, because it relates back to the way memories work, right? Because before that, they're talking about how they need a driver to replace Bash. So like, we need a driver. And then the next shot is this man in a car who we don't know who it is, right? So it's after we learn it's a flashback, it's almost like the talking about needing a driver sparked that memory
I didn't really think about that.
And I thought it was like pretty because initially I didn't realize it was a flashback, and I thought, oh, this character's going to be the driver, the next driver. But then the way the scene went totally took that in a complete opposite direction.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm just dumb and like can't read films as well as you guys. Like maybe
I felt that way too for a bit.
But obviously once the flashback ends, I know it's a flashback. But that was my initial reaction to it.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing, I guess, is like all these. I love these. I haven't seen Shame yet, but
you have to.
Yeah, I
Shame
really
is amazing.
I want to know.
It's my favorite Steve McQueen so far.
Just because the poster of it on Letterboxd has the sheets of a bed, right?
Yeah,
is that a major like motif in the film?
I don't know if you'd say motif, but like, do you know
like visual motif?
Do you know what the movie's about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, is that a reoccurring image in the movie?
I mean, you see him having sex in beds a lot, so I guess it reoccurs.
But honestly, though, he has sex outside of beds a lot.
No, yeah, true.
But I was just bringing that up because, to me, Viola Davis's bed is such an important place in this movie.
Yeah,
that's where we have
lots of emotional moments happen.
That's where we have all these flashbacks.
I love the score at those moments. That was the other positive I had in the movie, is the score at certain moments with Viola Davis's character in the bed was great.
Hansi Z. The Zimmerman.
It
was Hans Zimmer.
It was
Yeah.
Hans Zimmer,
Zimmer.
yeah. I forgot
That
about
makes
that.
sense. Yeah. Gotta love good old Hans.
Oh, yeah.
Although he has like weird movies in his just
He
if
does.
you want to
Yeah.
see something interesting on someone's IMDb page that's interesting, it's Hans Zimmer's.
Dude, Hidden Figures, like that score was not good. I didn't think.
No, I haven't
And
seen that
it
one.
doesn't he also quickly, I'd like to confirm this with Nolan here since he has access to IMDb, and then we'll end this
Well, I'm pulling up
little
Hans Zimmer
tangent.
as well. But...
I want to know, does he do Cool Runnings? I thought he did do Cool Runnings.
Just waiting on the Wi-Fi here.
I don't know why, but for some reason I think he does.
Wow, he's done a lot. I forgot.
Yeah, he's done it. Just look up Cool Runnings.
Honestly, the Wi-Fi's not really checking in here right now, so maybe it'll load. And
Maybe
Yeah,
he
yeah.
did do Cool Runnings. That's
Oh.
to me that's the weirdest, one of the weirdest things, because I remember
He's done
watching
quite a
that
few
movie
weird
and
ones.
so many
seeing-
weird ones, like
Goodbye.
Edge of 17.
Sorry, that was just my speaker going out.
Oh,
She has to say goodbye every time.
The
And
Simpsons
bye-bye.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
Edge
right.
of 17. Yeah. Anyways,
Back
Enough
to
of
non
Hans
Hans
Zimmer.
Zimmer.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do an episode on top 5 weirdest Hans Zimmer scores.
I don't know about that.
We'll watch his master class or something like
Yeah.
that.
Good idea.
All right. Back to what we were talking about here.
Standout scenes.
Standout scenes.
If you guys have any more, I can say that the actual heist scene was like really riveting for me because, like I said, I was disappointed by the movie. I still think it was good, but I was bored for quite a bit of it. It felt very long, so I kind of needed that heist scene. So when it happened, I was very satisfied. It wasn't amazing or anything.
I had really mixed feelings on the heist scene because there were moments of just great cinema during that heist scene. Like there was this one shot when they go into the house and then the camera pans over it and shows us the other rooms, and then it pans up and shows them going up the stairs, and then it tracks them up the stairs, and it's this kind of long take. And I really liked aspects like that and similar to that during that heist scene. But then for me, there were a couple moments during that whole sequence that took me out, like when that girl came out the door and they just kind of let her go back in the room. For me, I was like, obviously they're not professional heist people, but
Yeah.
neither am I. And I'm sitting in the audience like, what are you doing? Like that's so
no,
dumb
I can agree with that.
to me. But yeah, and then towards the end when Daniel Kaluuya took the money and was driving away in the white van, I really liked the look on his face, and it was a great moment. But it just sort of felt like that classic action movie trope where
The guy's oblivious.
the guy's
and
just
he's
oblivious to something that could.
I don't know
easily
though. I kind of. I don't know if
I disagree. Sorry.
Well, no, I was gonna say like I'm kind of torn because half of me thinks that Daniel Kaluuya's character is like really like clever and thinks things out, but I also think that he is kind of oblivious. So I don't know if that moment was out of character or not.
Well, I don't know if you guys remember this from the film, but I was going to talk about it later when we were talking about the characters. For him, you get all of these scenes where he's listening to things, okay?
Yeah.
There's one where he's, I guess, listening to some sort of Spanish language tutorial. I think it was Spanish. He was, like, learning Spanish. And it was almost hinting as though he's trying to escape from this lifestyle, because it was like a tourist type thing where it's just like, thank you for the drink, or some phrase like that.
Yeah.
And then another one, it's talking about the history of the Black Panther movement. He's listening to some audiobook, I guess. So there's this motif of him listening to things on the radio or on the speakers of cars or things like that. Again, the TV turning up the volume to listen to the game.
Holy shit! You look deep into this. I did not pick this up.
The moment of his downfall happens when he's listening.
He's not listening.
He's listening to the radio again to his brother's debate, right? The success of his debate, which he's really into. To me, like, it made total sense.
I liked him listening to that, and I thought that him listening to his brother speech, I thought that made a lot of sense to his character as well. I agree with you in that. To me, the way his character was set up, I totally would have thought he would have just killed all the widows right there.
I 100% agree with that. That part, I guess, makes sense. But
that was my flaw with that. Is he just kind of took the money and just left, and it's like, well, they could easily just get another car and just catch him.
The problem was, I think, in that scene when they get kicked out, when they're left standing on the street like that, you can see cop cars in the background of that shot. So if he tried to kill them, that would obviously make a huge noise, right? But another part I love is it adds so much tension because it's just like, holy shit, they're just left on the street here, like abandoned in the street, and you can see the cop cars like right behind them. And to me, that was another small moment of brilliance.
I wish we could have seen them get into the car that they got into when they actually.
But no, that adds,
showed them.
That
I know it eliminates the whole suspense.
It is
of
an
that
action
shot.
trope.
Yeah,
like it's very
definitely
tropey.
is an action trope.
Like it's definitely a popcorn movie.
For sure,
and that's why I disagree with it a lot. But I think we do get moments of genius, or these small moments of foreshadowing, or themes, or reoccurring images in the movie that,
for sure,
to me, elevates it above the average film.
No, and I would agree with that for sure.
Another example of this, because I don't know, I feel like I paid too much attention to these small details, was earlier on when you have the two kids of, sorry, what's the one widow Rodriguez, Michelle Rodriguez? Yeah, Michelle Rodriguez's kids are playing with this little like voice toy where it changes their voice, and then they use that in the heist. Yeah. In the heist, to mask their voices. Cool. I thought that was really dope because. Otherwise, it's just this silly little scene that has no context. But all these silly little scenes add up to so much.
For sure.
I think that to me is what's great about the movie.
No, me too. Like, I do think it's great. It's just, my main issue is just I could not get invested in it, which I think you agree, Nolan.
Yeah, like, and not only was it just kind of bland and cliched for a lot of it, but there were also moments that literally took me out. I don't know about you. Yeah. Were there any moments, memorable scenes or shots that kind of just like took you out of the movie? There were a couple for me. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember you said that. I don't know. Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
Well,
I'm gonna try to think while you say yours.
For me, oh man, that fucking scene with Michelle Rodriguez when she goes to that dude's house. And he kicks her out, and then I forget the dialogue in that scene, but they both find out that they both lost their loved ones, and they quick kiss, so cringy. And they're kind of making out for
that was a
10
weird
seconds.
Scene.
I don't know, that completely was just out of left field and took me right out.
To me, sorry, you didn't finish the sentence there. I started talking. To me, that was a like she wasn't acting genuinely in that scene. That was her, like the kiss was her trying to be seductive, I guess.
That's what I thought too.
But she couldn't do it to me. Like she couldn't go through with it.
The film didn't imply to me at that scene, like I thought at first it was implying that she was just trying to seduce him. But then when the scene ended, I was like, wait, it's not what the film tried to do at all, or at least it didn't feel that way.
Because I thought it was drawing a parallel to other character, the blonde woman.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. If you've seen the movie, you know the blonde widow.
The other of the four. Well, I guess we haven't.
Her name is Alice, played by Elizabeth Debicki.
Oh yeah, Alice or Allison or whatever. Yeah, like drawing a parallel between her storyline where she's legitimately like seducing a man, which was drawn on by her mother, I guess. I thought that was a pretty interesting storyline. I won't go too depth into it because I know we've talked about widows for a bit, but anything else you guys wanted to bring up about the movie?
I don't know, not really. I mean, had some great scenes. I was disappointed, yeah, there were like reveals in the movie. Like the whole Liam Neeson reveal was just supposed to be like a big shocking moment, but I found I just kind of shrugged my shoulders. I didn't really care like about anything that was happening.
Yeah, I thought the part with the dog, when the dog was barking at the door, I thought that was really powerful.
That was really.
But then the whole reveal, when the reveal fully took place, I didn't really dig it again.
That's exactly like I don't know. I think that sums up the movie for all of us. I don't know if you guys are necessarily going to agree for this statement. There are these great, incredible scenes that proves Steve McQueen's an incredible director, but just the movie itself
just didn't stick the landing.
Just didn't fulfill. Wasn't fulfilling compared to his other movies.
I thought that he could have done more. Like, when I first heard about this project, I was really excited because looking at the other two films that I've seen from him, when you look at 12 Years a Slave, that is like, he puts you into the shoes of what it's like to be a slave. And with Shame, he made this like the quintessential sex obsession film. It was like a drug film, but the drug was sex. And like, he said everything that you could say about lust. And then, as I said, everything you could say about being a slave. But I thought he was going to put us into the shoes of these widows. And in moments he did. Like, I thought this was going to be a movie that really went into those kind of topics.
Yeah.
Really well. But I didn't feel like it was like that at all. Or not at all, but
yeah.
I don't know.
So I think, like, I can agree. I did like the movie more than both of you guys, but I agree with both of you. It's disappointing by his standards.
Definitely.
If this was any other director, I think I'd like this movie more, to be honest. And that's not necessarily saying that it'd be a lot more.
No, but a little bit more.
Yeah.
I guess because
I just wouldn't have
been disappointed, exactly. Yeah. But then again, I probably wouldn't have had as high standards as I did going in. Yeah. Just checks out.
Are we moving on?
Anything else to say here? Anything else to wrap up Widows? Victor?
Not really.
Look like you got something to say. Not
really?
No,
I don't.
Oh, nothing to say from Victor.
Do we want to give our ratings for the film?
Yeah, we'll give our ratings.
All right.
Out of 5 or 10? Or...
let's do out of 10.
Okay.
We're not really prepared here at the Film Lads.
Yeah.
We're spontaneous. All right, Nolan, you first.
Well, when I walked out of the theater, it was a 5 out of 10. But when I really reflect on the film, when I came home thinking about the moments of brilliance that Steve McQueen did give us, I bumped it up to a 6. So 6 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I would agree. 6 out of 10 as well.
All right, and then me over here, I'm gonna give it the 7 out of 10. But
fair.
Just exactly one above you guys, because I don't know. That's how I feel about the movie.
Yeah, cool. Makes sense.
All right, now
we're gonna move on to Buster Scruggs.
Now to the real nitty gritty here.
The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. All right, a little bit of context. I'm gonna deliver.
He's gonna explain why this movie was made.
Why this movie is important. All right, now Victor and Nolan here. Nolan's a Coen Brothers fan for sure.
Huge Coen Brothers fan.
Huge Coen Brothers fan. Victor, he thinks they're pretty good. They're my favorite directors. Okay, it's hard to say your favorite every time someone asks me my favorite director. I'm like, no, my favorite directors. All right, the Coens, they're my number one. Okay,
they're dope.
Meanwhile, Tom Waits, my favorite musician, my favorite artist. Okay, headline: Tom Waits, to be in Coen Brothers' next movie. Like 7 people messaged me, holy shit, this movie was made for you.
Yeah.
So I've been anticipating this. This is my most anticipated movie of 2018.
I can see that.
And that's why we're here today. We're discussing, well, we probably would have all seen this movie anyways. Yeah. But this is why it's an important movie to me. All right. Now, sorry, I just had to deliver that message because that was important to me to divulge that this is my favorite directors pairing up with my favorite artists. So it's just like, this movie's Kirk.
Yeah.
All right.
And so was it worth the wait?
It fucking
was. Yeah.
Okay. The movie is divided up into 6 parts, 6 vignettes. I guess we're just going to discuss them one by one, in chronological order.
We should also rank them. I guess we'll
rank them at the end.
We'll rank them at the end.
We'll rank them at the end. Nolan, do you have the names of the vignettes popped up or pulled up there?
I have them pulled up.
All right, so the first one there is
the Ballad of
Buster Scruggs.
All right, so what did you guys think of the Ballad of Buster Scruggs?
I absolutely loved it. I thought it was just so goofy and so absurd, but in the best way possible. Just the songs, the the absurd kills in that opening, just
the musical aspect. Yeah,
I loved it so much.
Coen Brothers, if somehow you listen to the film, lads, if you're listening right now, I want a feature film with Buster Scruggs.
I was just gonna say I could have watched an entire movie of this character. I thought
this
he was
fucking
just hilarious.
guy, like this guy is a lad.
Well, he's a legend. He's legitimate. They say he's a misanthrope.
Yeah,
But I don't necessarily agree.
Yeah.
Dude,
I think that's unfair, don't you?
Oh man, the opening vignette with Scruggs, like, it was one of the funniest things I've seen this year. Maybe the funniest.
I could agree.
I could definitely agree.
One of the funniest things I've seen in a while. Like, it was so funny. Not just this vignette, but through the whole movie, my favorite line, best moment, was when he shot all those guys in the saloon. And the guy was, like, crawling out the door. And he was just like, let me get that for you, partner. What? Totally. He just shot this guy.
And he's like, I'll save this one for the wolves or whatever. He's like, the wolves will get this one. He's just so happy about all these...
And he shoots all these guys, and he's even making fun of himself for not being able to kill that guy on that shot.
He's like self-aware. He's like, well, I missed one. And just the way he like talks to the camera. Like during all of these scenes, it's like he's so obvious and charismatic in a sense.
Yeah,
it was so good. Like at the end, I guess at the end, near the end of the vignette, when he gets shot. First of all, the cinematography in this scene when he gets shot and he takes the hat off and the camera just tilts up to the bullet hole, then to the blood. Oh my god, it was so good. And then just like. Well,
and then that song at the end. You gotta. What are those things called on the boots? You gotta give up your things and get wings or whatever. And his the little angel flying off.
Yeah,
he's like, "There's a new guy in town now," and they both sing like. And I love how one's dressed in all white, and of course the other one's dressed in all black. Yeah. And he does the exact same trick that he pulls on the other one. Do you need a countdown? Nope.
Yeah. That opening vignette is like one of my favorite things that the Coens have ever done. Personally.
Oh, it was amazing.
I'm glad you feel that way, Victor. Because I know you're the least. You like the Coens.
I like the Coens, but I don't love them.
But. For me, your favorite movie of theirs is
No Country.
No Country, which is their most serious
Definitely
film.
their most serious.
It definitely does, like, it's a great film, one of my all-time favorite movies, but it's the least Coen Brothers movie.
I disagree, but
well, I've never seen Miller's Crossing.
Well, I guess it's their least Coen, but I still think it's obviously a Coen Brothers film.
Yeah, all the staples. Definitely, of course.
Going back on what I was saying here, Victor, I think you've said to me before that you don't like the ones that are supposed to be funny or like they're comedies.
That's not necessarily
You like them
true.
less.
I like them a little less. I should say that I do really need to rewatch Fargo because I hear that's hilarious. But I watched that when I was so young and just I didn't get it. But I think I would maybe get it now. But I love Raising Arizona. I think that movie's hilarious.
Yeah.
Big Lebowski's great.
Burn After Reading too.
Burn After Reading is hilarious.
Just I'm so glad that you liked this comedic one.
Oh no, totally.
Yeah.
It was I think it's their most ridiculous
100%
comedy thing they've ever
probably
done. It's easily their most absurd. I haven't seen as many films as you, but
I think in a way their last feature film,
Hail Caesar
is pretty ridiculous. But this might tie that. And to me, this drew back to that movie because you have that scene with the silly Western in
Hail
Caesar.
So good.
So
I love Hail Caesar. I thought it was a pretty underrated film, to be honest.
But to me, that this drew back on the film, and it was definitely the lightest of the vignettes.
For sure.
But it brings up this theme of black humor, like the staple of the Coens, and just you don't realize it. I feel like you don't realize it in this first one, but all of these vignettes are just going to end on such a note.
They all end with death, don't they?
They all end with death.
Yeah.
Except for one.
Except for one.
but
maybe
it's
we'll get into that.
implied.
Yeah.
We'll get into that.
We will get into it, but one thing I want to... I can't really say it actually, but there's something about this vignette with Buster Scruggs that I want to
Draw back
to later on.
Yeah, because although they're all separate, there's a drawing connection between the 6 films, and that's so.
Yeah. Well, it is a film.
Yeah, it's so
it's
obvious.
A 2-hour and 15-minute film.
They all have thematic similarities.
Yeah,
for sure.
Which we'll get into at the end of it, because then we can talk about all 6 of them.
Mm-hmm.
But this one definitely, I liked how it started off the movie, because it would kind of make the other ones more interesting to me because of the change in tone.
Totally. It wouldn't work to end on this one.
Well,
100%.
no, that was what I was about to say. I completely disagree with you guys.
Really?
I would have ended the film with this.
No,
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I 100% disagree.
And this is what my dad said too. My dad thought the same thing. He thought they should have ended with this because I don't know. It's hard to talk about without talking about that last vignette.
Yeah.
Then let's go. Let's also talk about that at the end, the order of the vignettes, because I think that is an important part. So I'm glad you brought that up. So we'll talk about that later. So let's move on to the second one. Nolan, what's the name of it there?
The James Franco.
It's near Algodones, I believe.
Something like that. Yeah.
So what you guys? To me, this is the next silliest one.
Definitely.
Yeah. No, it is.
Especially with that banker. I love this banker where he comes out.
The banker was
dressed up in this suit of armor.
Yeah.
Bad shot.
Yeah.
Bad shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was great.
Because he warns James Franco's character. He's like, yeah, I've been robbed multiple times. One guy ended up he's missing a leg. I think he's dead now, but I don't know. He's warning him. He's like, and James Franco's just like, this guy's obviously bullshitting.
Yeah.
And the moment he brings out his gun, and it's just like, well, he's fucked.
Yeah.
I loved the location of the bank. I love how it was just in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Victor.
No, I was just gonna say I didn't love James Franco.
Yeah, me either.
To be honest, I
didn't.
I don't think he played his part very well. His character wasn't anything crazy, but just I never saw a character. I just kind of saw James Franco the whole time.
Yeah.
Maybe you're supposed to think that though.
I think he feels out of place. He feels so out of place in this world and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And when he's riding on the horse during this battle, between the Indians and the traditional Indians and the Native Americans, but
I understand.
They're portrayed as Indians in a stereotypical Western film. That's why I refer to
that's
them.
the point.
Totally makes sense.
Between them and the Hangers, which features the main dad there from The Witch, which I thought was fucking pretty.
I was trying to figure out where he was from. I was like, oh, what the fuck is this guy from? I know he's from a movie I love. And then finally I was like, fuck, the Witch. The fucking Witch.
But he feels so out of place during this battle where he's just sitting on the horse, being hanged. He's just like, what the fuck's going on?
I thought that was really funny.
I thought that was so perfect because he feels out of place, as James Franco too.
I thought the cinematography in that scene was amazing.
Yeah, I love that long shot of him on his horse tied to the tree.
And then it does good. That cross dissolve, and you
see the horse getting farther away.
You can see the horse getting farther away, and then there's that extreme close up of the horse eating the grass.
And I love that little nod too, where after the battle happens and the hangers are all wiped out, James Franco's like, "Are they gonna leave me alive?" Mm-hmm. And then the Indian just smiles and goes spooks the horse. I'm just like, oh god. So good. And then next you have the cows, the herder or whatever. I thought that was
really funny.
Yeah.
But to me, the highlight, the standout was the ending of this.
First time?
Yeah.
No, not that. That line's great, but to me that was ruined in the trailer.
Ruined in the trailer.
Yeah, because it's that line would have been great if I didn't know it was coming.
I didn't see the trailer, thankfully.
Just this okay, so what did you think of it? Did you think it was a
I thought it was a funny line,
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Alright. He sees this girl's face in the crowd. Oh, something is he this legendary guy who gets hanged twice and survives? But then he just dies, and that's the end of it.
Yeah, I like that.
I loved that.
I love that
so much.
There are certain moments where you can tell that the Coens are fucking with us. They're literally they're playing with us so hard. You can tell that they're in almost every scene, they're subverting our expectations of the Western.
100%. Well, to me, they're not subverting the expectations. They're playing. They're playing with it because back in the day, people died all the time, right? And we already have 2 shorts in, and the main character dies in both ones.
Yeah. And
they're like incredible amount of deaths, just people dying all the time. And to me, they're just playing around with that and toying with us using that.
Well, maybe subverting wasn't the best word, but basically just they were kind of saying that you can do anything with the Western. Or they were doing anything that they wanted to do. It was kind of meta, too.
So you guys like that ending?
Yeah, I loved it.
I loved that ending.
I also loved when the guy tried shooting the rope and then the horse ran away.
Yeah.
And then he was like, oh, hold still.
Hold still. Yeah, that was fucking great.
That was so great.
Oh, man.
All right, we moving on to the third one?
Yeah, third one. Oh, all right.
Oh, that was a meal ticket,
this
right?
Is where
meal
it gets
ticket,
serious. Meal ticket.
Whoa. Why'd you guys think of meal ticket?
I love this one.
This one was devastating.
For sure. It was the one that I emotionally was affected by the most.
Yeah. Me too, probably. Well,
for me.
Yeah.
I
feel like it did the best job at setting a tone and building like an atmosphere.
I disagree with that because I think the first one does that the best, and the last one actually, but we'll get into that.
Yeah, I just thought that with the sound design and the cinematography in this one, it just like the first 2 were the kind of daytime westerns, and this third one, Meal Ticket, most of it was at night. And all these kind of freak show performances, and it really just that's where I actually like that the first 2 were the silly ones and the Buster Scruggs one was the first one, because it kind of made me think that these are all going to be these really silly, over the top, goofy Coen Brothers westerns, but not really this one.
To me, I can see that, but I think black comedy played like, even in the serious ones, black comedy plays a huge
definitely
role.
Yeah.
No matter what, the Coens always have that element.
Like I kind of found this like kind of funny. I don't know if you guys would necessarily agree. He gets replaced by a chicken.
No, I know it's
like you have this guy who's like a serious like public performer or like public speaker,
and he's replaced by a chicken.
He seems very worldly and knows all this information. And what I didn't initially understand about this was, he was saying all these like very educated. He seemed very educated. Things almost Shakespearean.
Yeah,
in a way.
The Gettysburg Address.
Yeah, I didn't understand why in the first performance why there was a huge crowd, and
I wondered that too.
I was like, this does not seem like the thing that these people would want to watch. It just that was my initial opinion of it. It did, like, I don't know. To me, it seemed out of place. But then once you understand it, it was kind of like gimmicky to them. They saw it as a gimmick, not as a performance. They were more fascinated with the man's body than what he was saying.
What he was saying, yeah.
What he was saying did not matter to them at all.
Well,
and once they saw the body, he just became meaningless, right? It was a one-time, it was almost a gimmick to them.
That's like all those freak show things, though. Like, I don't know if you guys seen The Elephant Man?
No.
But that kind of, a lot of
I could see that.
Man. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where he's sort of poetic in a way, but that's ignored.
Yeah, and him and like there are a lot of characters who are different, and they're all part of these freak show acts, and everybody there is just like they just care about seeing a weird looking person.
And the devastating ending to this.
It really got
to me. Yeah.
Like it fucked me up.
You think they have this a certain relationship when he's like, Liam Neeson's character's feeding this guy and like helping him pee and stuff. But then the moment they go to a brothel,
the brothel, man,
the brothel,
and he turns him. Holy shit!
I know,
he turns him around.
That was fucked up.
Oh my god! And she's like, "Does your partner like?
Does he want to get lucky or something like that?
Something like that. Does your partner need some loving too or whatever?" And he's like, "Nope, he's good."
Yeah.
Oh god!
Just the look on his face when it kept cutting to Liam Neeson and like at the end, the very last scene. Just the look on that guy's face. and then you're like wondering what is Liam Neeson doing, and then you see the chicken.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh my god.
Yeah, the way they revealed that was awesome. I thought.
And just to me, the moment he stopped and looked down and saw the river, and then we get this bird's eye view shot of the river, it's like, oh no. Oh
yeah,
no.
and he drops the rock, and
Yeah.
like, you hear that loud splash.
Thud, and it's just like, fuck.
Dude.
Yeah.
Because the guy in the caravan can't see what's going on, and he's trying to look outside to see what's happening, but he just hears the rock. And the expression on his face, to me, he has like pretty much the same face going throughout it. That's the only time there's this emotional change in his face, and that was pretty powerful to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw some guy on Letterboxd call Meal Ticket unwatchable, and
In what way?
I don't know. He said it's the worst one. It was unwatchable. I don't understand why. I should have.
I don't agree.
No,
with
I
that.
should have read the person's review, because fuck off. Like,
Yeah,
honestly.
well,
no.
you know what it is? I feel like certain people, it's let's say this was a film, just one film about Meal Ticket, and it, like, let's say Meal Ticket was the film, and you didn't get the first two vignettes before Meal Ticket, and Meal Ticket starts, and it's like I feel like if you set that tone right at the start of a film, then it's kind of like you're in it or you're out. Whereas when you watch Buster Scruggs and whatever the
Algodons or whatever,
what James Franco's called, it sets this kind of comedic tone that you're taken back by with Meal Ticket, and you're like, what is this? But you kind of have to get into it, and I loved it.
So you're saying it plays a different context in the film itself?
Yeah, it depends on like.
So what you're saying is part of its genius is the placement of it before the comedic ones and not after. Interesting, because earlier you said you'd end.
No, that's not what I said. That's not what I said.
Okay. We'll get into that later.
No, you're completely misinterpreting
No, I'm just joking.
what I'm saying.
I'm just joking.
That's not what I said. I said those people who hate Meal Ticket might have liked it if it was just a short film and not in.
To me, I was understanding it as they thought Meal Ticket was boring. Like, that's how I understood it. It wasn't nothing to do with the tone. Just like there's this random guy like, to me that was interesting. Like the guy talking and the wind. Like, exactly, you brought up the sound design earlier.
The wind plays a key
role. It feels
role.
like I felt cold while watching this. Like,
I do think, obviously they think it's boring, but part of why they think it's boring, what I'm trying to say is,
well, we have no way of knowing.
They've seen the first two, and the first two are different
film.
kinds of stories, and they're not this slow burn, which is what Meal Ticket was. That's
Meal
what
Ticket.
I'm trying to say.
It's for sure a slow burn.
It was a great transition into the more like serious tone of the other three.
Although I thought this one was the most serious.
No, that's what I mean.
Yeah, I agree. Like, to me, it still has black comedy, but it's not that obvious. Like, it's the least obvious. You can understand it without black comedy.
I think you might laugh a bit at it, but then by the end, you're like, holy shit, I shouldn't.
Yeah.
It's 100% emotional, but I don't think it's like, it's still silly. Like, in a way.
To a degree, yeah.
It's silly in a very sad way. Of course.
Would you agree that this is the most serious one?
Yeah, in tone. But I still think it's not completely serious.
I mean,
for sure.
To me, there's another one that competes.
To me, there's no competition. The fourth one, which is called...
No, I'm not
Gold's
talking about which is the
Canyon
best. I'm talking about which one's the most serious.
Yeah, I was trying to make a transition. Moving on to the next one.
Oh, yeah.
Which is called...
All Gold's Canyon.
All Gold's Canyon. But I don't think this one's as serious.
Okay, which one is it then? Sorry, you were... finish your sentence.
The gal who got rattled.
Oh, okay,
yeah, but we're talking about
All Gold's Canyon.
Yeah,
Kirk's
All
favorite.
Gold Canyon.
For one
reason. We all know why.
We all know why.
We all know why.
My lad. My soul. Okay? All those, like, Tumblr memes about my soul animal. Tom Waits. He's my soul animal, or whatever those fucking memers say.
Yeah.
He was very good.
He was great.
That's all you have to say?
No, that fucking shot when he's talking about the gold. Don't fully remember the moment, but just that one moment when he just like lifts his head and he just goes, "We'll have to wait and see." I just loved it. I love this
The
guy.
location was beautiful. It was a nice change from the Western locations, which were also beautiful, but just the colors.
Well, that's what they're doing
really
too.
nice.
They're playing on the Western settings.
Yeah.
Like this one felt. I mean, obviously the story was different, but like this felt like the Dances with Wolves type of setting.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen that either, but
No, but
I know what you're
it was
saying.
a kind of setting that took you away from like the traditional desert and small town with saloon.
Like McCabe and Miss Mary.
Yeah, kind of like that film too.
What I love the most about this probably is it was all about for Tom Waits' character, the prospector. It was all about not the idea of getting the gold at the end and being rich, but it was all about the journey. Like he was all about the process of prospecting, and to me, I fucking love that.
Mm.
And the way he refers to the gold itself as
Mr. Pocket.
Mr. Pocket, I'm coming for you, Mr. Pocket. I fucking love that.
Yeah.
Good night, Mr. Pocket. Because there's the entire vignette, he's alone, but he's not really. There's a second character, Mr. Pocket, right?
There's also the owl.
Yeah, the owl.
Yeah.
You get parts of the valley becoming a character in itself.
Yeah, that's what I loved about the opening of it. There was just like the Coens spent a decent amount of time just like building the setting, which I thought was really good. You know, because I don't know, I just loved being there with Tom Waits. It wasn't just Tom Waits; it was the whole setting. He was in. It was dope.
So, I brought this up earlier with you guys, but I didn't like finish what I was talking about because I wanted to save it for the podcast. But we have there was like this like tweet that got a bunch of attention about this vignette particularly, and it was just like, Coen Brothers, who should we cast as our gold prospector? I was thinking,
I did see this.
and then
tweet.
Tom Waits was just like, I'll do it. Coen Brothers, how'd you get into our office? Tom Waits, I've always been here. Coen Brothers, well, we can talk it over. Tom Waits, you can pay me in rusted Chevy parts. And the only reason I brought this up is because that line of I've always been here. Okay, yeah, it's silly. All right? Why did I bring up a tweet? Okay,
No, it's funny.
No, it's funny.
Okay,
Your
okay.
expression is funny.
Yeah.
It's just like, why did I bring up this tweet? I've always been here. Like Tom Waits, why has he never been in a Coen Brothers movie? He's so perfect for the Coen Brothers.
Oh, he was perfect for this role. I felt like the only other person that could have been in this role would be, I don't know, something random like Nick Nolte. Just some kind of random...
Yeah.
He gave me a bit of a Nick Nolte vibe in a good way, but it wasn't Nick Nolte, so that was also good, I guess. I wasn't going, oh, why the fuck is Nick Nolte in the Coen Brothers movie? I was like, oh, fucking Tom Waits.
Yeah.
Like another part that I guess talks about the journey itself is when he begins prospecting, you see these nuggets of gold, and like your understanding, like I don't know for you guys, but my understanding of prospecting was like whenever you see these little Mr. Pocket, he doesn't care about these little nugs. You need Mr. Pocket.
Totally.
Another part I loved was his interaction with the owl. You brought up the owl as a character when he's taking the eggs. Sees the owl, makes eye contact with the owl, puts them both back. He's like, oh, I don't think owls can count or whatever. It takes one anyway.
Any other things that you guys liked in particular about this one? Like, dislike?
Well, like I was gonna go on for more, but I was gonna let you guys talk some.
No, I don't know. I mean, we pretty much touched on everything. It was a very enjoyable vignette for sure. One of the better ones.
Well, keep talking about this. Going off on this. I loved how we're introduced to this beautiful valley, and then there's just this. It keeps developing more of all these holes he's digging up, and it's just like the destruction of this beautiful valley.
Yeah,
and it's like kind of heartbreaking in a way. I don't know. I don't know if you guys would agree.
I can see that. I can see that.
I love the end towards the end. Like it was so random, but it was just so goofy. Coen Brothers when he gets shot, but the bullet just went through him. Like it didn't affect him.
No, it did affect him. It killed him, but he was like,
obviously,
it went all the way through.
It went all the way through. It didn't catch a bone or something.
It didn't catch a bone.
He says something like that.
Yeah. And he ends up like killing the other guy. I love their little battle in the hole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're not getting Mr. Pocket. Shit like that. Yeah. maybe I love this one a little too much just because I fucking adore Tom Waits.
Yeah.
No, that's fair.
We all have our biases.
Yeah.
It was one of my favorite ones, though.
No, it was great.
Moving on, I guess. The girl who got
Yeah, moving on to this is the 5th one, right?
Yeah.
The gal who got rattled. I personally love this one. Like, I know some people didn't as much, but I thought the performance by what's that girl's name? I'm looking it up right now.
The girl who got rattled.
She's in that movie The Big Sick.
I was wondering where I saw this girl. It's funny that
Zoe Kazan.
Yeah.
I thought her performance was amazing.
Like, yeah, I thought she was great.
Other than maybe Buster Scruggs, I thought her performance was... Tom Waits was great too.
Don't diss my boy.
I'm not dissing. I love Tom Waits. But she was such a standout in this film. Like, I thought that just by the first shot we see her around at that table, we knew right away like what she was feeling. Just by that first initial shot when we first meet her. And then to me, like, this is maybe the last one. It's their slowest little story. But I thought it was done very well, and I don't know, I just thought it was a beautiful little kind of romantic tale that ended pretty tragically and kind of got to me emotionally, to be honest.
I liked it. I don't know. Like, the performances are great. I found the whole thing with the dog pretty funny. What's the dog's name? President?
Miss President.
No, it's just President. President Franklin.
No, it's a double P. Yeah, it's like President.
Hold on.
Yeah, find that. Or the wrong one.
But just going off that, yeah, like that element of black humor.
President Pierce.
Yeah. President Pierce, yeah. I love that. I found that hilarious.
The Coens are great at picking names.
Yeah.
Well, like, drawing, to me, this vibed a lot with the cat in Inside Llewyn Davis.
Totally.
Oh,
it's the exact same thing. But how this dog keeps reoccurring into her life. And that great scene where she's anticipating the dog getting shot and she hears the bullet. And he comes back, he's like, "Oh, I missed," or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, she hears like 3 shots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought those little moments, though, were so good, though. And then when, I forget what his name was, but when he was proposing that night or the next day or whatever it was, that scene to me felt so genuine. And, like, you could tell that he was very gentlemanly, and they both just kind of were slowly falling for each other. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was kind of unexpected, but in a good way.
Yeah. Earlier I said I liked it. I should say that I respect it more than I like it. I mean, there are some great things, but my biggest worry for this movie is I haven't seen many anthology films. I don't know if I've seen any actually, but I think the biggest worry is always like inconsistency in how good the stories are, how like invested you are in them. And this story just like didn't really do much for me. I found I was bored for a lot of it, which kind of affected the film negatively for me quite a bit, considering it's the longest story by far.
By a lot, yeah.
It's like 40 minutes.
But
I was bored. I was bored for most of it, if I'm being honest.
Well, I felt that about the last one. If I was bored by one.
I think it has a good reason to be drawn out, though, and it adds a lot to the impact of the ending.
Yeah, but like it wasn't rewarding enough for me personally. But I do get what you're saying for sure.
Another part of this I really liked was how it commented on the role of women at the time, and how it sort of I don't know, kind of criticized, like it showcased how bad it could be for them, because once her brother dies, the male figure in her life or whatever, she just doesn't know what to do with herself. She's so lost. Mm-hmm.
But that's what I loved about
I loved about it, exactly.
This fucking gentleman.
But to me, that was just commenting so much on the role of women at the time in Westerns. Mm-hmm. And because you never would see this in a traditional Western film, right? But it definitely happened at the time. And that's part of like what I liked about how they're going back and they're using I guess you're saying they subverted the Western genre.
Yeah,
that's
definitely they did quite
adds
a
to
bit,
it.
but here they really did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was just such a great slow build. And if you're talking about the role of women at the time, then like that ending just hits you so hard because the guy's like gives her the gun and is like, take this just in case. Would obviously because just in case, you know, he gets killed and she gets captured. It's just the thought of it is terrifying. And I thought, like, I don't know, it just perfectly balanced the side of masculinity and the side of women in this short to me, especially by the end. When she, of course, you know.
Anything else to say on this? All right, so the last short.
Yeah, we're moving on.
Yeah.
What's the name of
the Mortal Man?
The Mortal Remains.
The Mortal Remains.
So, the thing I'd like to bring up about this one, okay?
You're probably gonna say what I want to say, maybe.
Every single of the 5 vignettes so far, the main character dies at the end.
Mm-hmm.
This one, you get this moment of almost a throwback to John Ford's Stagecoach, where they're all on a coach together. These wide array of characters, they're just forced to be together.
Right.
To me, it starts off as like very lighthearted, and then they discuss philosophy for a bit.
Yeah.
Which is like, blah, blah, blah to me. The real highlight of this one is when the 2 bounty hunters start talking about death.
Oh, that got so fucked.
And there was so much tension, and this was almost a horror film to me.
There was a lot of tension.
Because it was almost as though it was making it seem like they were the Grim Reapers.
Mm-hmm.
And like these 3 characters were they're like, they never see death coming. They talk about how they never see it in their eyes right before they die. Like, he's a distraction, and the other one kills them. So it's just like, wait, is one of these people like another bounty? And you can see that on their faces. They're like scared or worried or whatever.
Yeah. Because
he's being distracting right now. And then you get this moment of relief when Brendan Gleeson starts singing. Especially when they're trying to get the driver of the stagecoach's attention to slow down. And he does not slow down. To me, that was...
Well, that's what the title of like that's what the picture says.
Picture says right before. To me, that was almost invoked this feeling of crossing over to the other side, like sort of drawing back on that old Greek legend, talking about like crossing the river to death or whatever. The river, I forget what it's called, but like it was almost like the stagecoach driver was an otherworldly being. Mm-hmm. So to me, like, I found this like a horror short. I don't know if you guys would agree.
It was like the horror western of all the shorts.
What were you gonna say, Victor? That you wanted to say?
I really like the lighting and like the colors in this scene.
Yeah.
Just,
when it went from evening
it goes from
to
like
night.
orange to like this like teal blue almost like, and it's so subtle. Like the first half of the scene, I just kind of like didn't even really notice, and then I was like, whoa, the color is completely different, and
that's where that tone change happens too.
Yeah, no,
like,
totally.
Exactly
that's why it's so perfect, because the color goes with what's happening in the conversation.
Can we talk about the guy with the beard? Like the guy who just rambles?
Yeah.
That shit was so funny.
That guy is funny.
Yeah, he's like the comic relief for
It
sure.
was one of those scenes where he starts talking and I was like, what the fuck is this guy gonna say?
Yeah.
And then he started talking for a bit longer, and then I was like, okay, what the hell is he talking about? But then he just kept talking, and then it just became so absurd and so funny.
Mm-hmm.
And especially when the Frenchman and the woman are arguing about like philosophy and all this shit, and this guy's just in between them. I don't know. To me, that character just looked like he'd smell bad. Like between the 5 people in the thing, like they'd all smell like normal, and that guy would just smell like shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys like. That's a weird thing to think about, probably.
Yeah.
But I was just like, this fucking weird ass guy in the car just doesn't look too proper, and he's rambling and like probably smells bad. Mm-hmm. Like, it drew back to like almost like a bus, like public transit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anything else going on? Oh, sorry, going back off to what I was saying earlier, in all of the other vignettes, it's like the main character dies.
Yeah.
This one, there's not necessarily a main character, right? This is the one that doesn't have a main character.
Yeah.
But when at the end of this ride, when they're all afraid to go into the hotel or the saloon or whatever it is, to me that was like going off of the way I look at it. They're scared to go in because this could be their death to them.
Yeah.
That's what they're thinking. Like, this is the afterlife. Obviously, I don't think that's necessarily what the Coen Brothers are implying. I just think that's the way the characters view it. All three of them.
Well, it was definitely the most, to me, it was the most ambiguous.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, thinking about it, it might have been... I know I said I would have preferred Buster Scruggs being at the end, but if we're going by that, then it kind of makes sense for the Coen Brothers to put this one at the end, because, like, some of their films have this element of ambiguity by the end of the film, and this one definitely
one was the one that had a bunch of ambiguity at the end.
Like,
right?
if you look at Barton Fink or like A Serious Man or a lot of their films, it's so ambiguous though. Like it doesn't feel like it's that ambiguous, but then when it ends, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And I wasn't really feeling that through the vignettes until the end. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. That
was crazy.
And to me, this wasn't obvious at the beginning of, like, the first time I watched this vignette. This was actually the only one I went back and watched for a second time because I was thinking about it a lot more. And it actually changed my initial ratings of how I ranked the vignettes.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do that at the end.
I was going to say, do you guys have anything else to say? Because we can just go into that now.
Overall, like, is there anything overall we want to comment on? Like, cinematography, performances,
I think
style?
we drew on that on each of the vignettes.
Yeah.
Let's quickly talk about something we addressed earlier, where it's just like the ordering of the vignettes. Because to me, that's exactly why this one is the perfect ending, is because you have this expected ending where the main character always dies in each of these vignettes. And then you have this one's introduced with that line where it's just like, they asked the stagecoach to go slower, but he did not listen to them. He kept going. So to me, that was like, oh, everyone in this one's going to die. Like, they're going to fall off a cliff or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
But it makes it so much more ambiguous and, like, almost like a horror movie to me. Like, that's what I compare this one to.
It's definitely a good ending. And I know I said that I would have maybe preferred Scruggs being at the end. But I also love it at the beginning. What I was going to explain was I would have found it interesting. Like, hear me out a little bit.
I'm hearing you. Like, I'm hearing you.
You got Buster Scruggs, right? And the way it ends, you have this kind of life and death thing going on. You see him rise into the sky with the wings. Yeah. They're both singing the song together, and he's riding on his horse away from the town. And as the song's singing, you see one guy rise into the sky. Scruggs is rising into the sky. The other guy's riding his horse slowly down the desert away from the town. With the music, all of a sudden, just music keeps going. And then directed by Joel and Ethan Coen. To me, I don't know. It could have been a cool way to end the film, because it would have been like that, walking out, riding out into the desert.
It's interesting. Sorry, it's interesting that you brought that up, because that kind of, I guess, also adds to my reading of the last one, because it brings up this fantastical element to it. Like this campy, silly ghost rising out of the body and stuff. Because none of the other there's no, it's not necessarily realism. But there's none of that fantastical elements throughout any of the other vignettes.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's why I got these implications in the last one.
There are like random moments of
absurdity. Or coincidence, but it's not fantastical in the ghost rising out. And maybe that's why I got that reading of the last one. Which I guess also reinforces my opinion, which is like perfect ordering of the vignettes. I would not change them.
Victor, I think it's a great order. I just obviously
you'd prefer the other way around.
Victor, I like the order, but what were you asking me?
I was just gonna say, how do you feel about the ordering?
Yeah, like I like it. don't have anything new to say on that, really.
I
agree with you.
I'm a big fan of vignette films. Like, Night on Earth is, like, one of my favorite movies. So, to me, the ordering is so important. And, like, I really try and pay attention to that shit. So, like, I know this is, like, the first one you've seen.
Yeah, I think this is the first anthology movie I've seen, so.
All right.
Should we get to our ranking?
Let's finish it off with the old rankings here.
All right. You're doing worst to best?
Yeah.
So, number 6. Are you starting?
Yeah, just rank them off. We'll you can
Each
start
individually? Okay.
Yeah, we won't go like 6 all of us and then 5 all of us. Let's just quickly shoot them
first
down.
of all, I'll say that I really liked them all.
Oh, I 100% agree.
I loved 5 of them, and then I liked one of them. So the one that I liked, it was my least favorite one, was the last one, Mortal Remains. It was a good one, but I gotta watch it again. It definitely requires multiple viewings. Number 5 was Near Algodones, the one with James Franco. I thought it was a good one, like a really good one, but it was like really short and didn't really, you know, they could have given us more with that one, I guess. Number 4, All Gold Canyon. I loved it. Loved Tom Waits.
The lad.
Number 3, I know I like this one a little more than you, Victor, but The Gal Who Got Rattled. I don't know, I just thought that one really got to me. And then my number 1 and number 2 were easy. My number 2 is Meal Ticket. That one really fucking got to me.
Yeah.
The one with Liam Neeson and that guy from Harry Potter.
Dudley.
Dudley Durdley or
whatever his name is.
I don't know. Harry Potter's cousin. And then number 1, Ballad of Buster Scruggs. One of the funniest things I've seen in a while.
Yeah. All right, good rank. My number 6 would be The Gal Who Got Rattled. As I said, I just didn't get invested in that one. I didn't really get as much out of it as you did. Number 5 would be The Mortal Remains. It was good. I definitely liked it more than The Gal Who Got Rattled, but again, I found I got more out of the other ones. And then number 4 would be Near Algodones. As you said, like, it's really short-lived. Like, it's funny while it lasts. It's fun, but definitely not top tier for sure. Number 3. I'm just trying to look at these. Am I on number 3 now?
Yeah. So you have All Gold's Canyon, Ballad of Buster Scruggs, and Meal
Number
Ticket.
3 would be All Gold's Canyon. Tom Waits, incredible, as we've said so many times.
If
the setting, fucking setting,
I just like to keep this in mind. I hope you guys are being genuine, but in my mind, like, I'm so paranoid. The way my mind works is that you're just saying Tom Waits is excellent, and like, I know you're being genuine. I know you're being genuine.
We'll have to wait and see.
But my paranoid mind is that I love Tom Waits so much that if you guys said anything but he was excellent, I would like fuck you up. Like, I would tear you up to shreds. Like, that's just a silly thing with the way my mind works. Sorry to interrupt.
No worries. And then number 2, Meal Ticket as well. Really devastating. And then number 1 as well, Ballad of Buster Scruggs. I was so on board with just the absurdity of it and just the humor. Like,
let me get that door for you, partner.
Like I said, that vignette is like one of my favorite things that the Coen Brothers has ever done. Personally, right. I could have got a feature film.
I agree with that for sure.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
And just that guy. I was excited for this just because of drawing on "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?"
Oh,
he's pretty funny.
We thought he was a toad.
All right. So I'll go with my just talk about my initial ranking here. My top 2 remain the same, but my initial ranking, I had The Girl Who Got Rattled at number 6, The Mortal Remains at number 5, Near Algodones at number 4, and Meal Ticket at number 3. But since going back and rewatching The Mortal Remains, I now have it at still 6, The Girl Who Got Rattled, then Near Algodones, then Meal Ticket, then The Mortal Remains at number 3. So that was the one that my opinion of it changed heavily.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And like, all our opinions could change on them if we see them all a second time.
I just love its context within the film itself. Like, I've talked about that probably way too much. And then obviously number 2,
Ballad of Scruggs.
Ballad of Buster Scruggs. See, I just love Tom Waits too guys.
Yeah,
too much, guys.
Yeah.
All Gold's Canyon #1. But Buster Scruggs and All Gold's Canyon to me are almost masterpiece levels. Like, they're masterpieces pretty much.
Oh, for sure. For Buster Scruggs.
I can agree with Buster Scruggs.
Yeah, like that was amazing.
Yeah. It was amazing.
It was.
Yeah.
Like, I probably, after this, we should all just, like, rewatch just that one.
Oh, no, I find that...
We should just watch it.
I will definitely be revisiting the first vignette. Like, I don't know how soon I'll be revisiting any other
right after this
podcast.
Ones. We're going to be revisiting. I'm calling this now. I don't care what you guys say. You're in my house. We're in my house right now. We're going to watch that vignette right after this.
Oh, I'm down
for sure. For Scruggs.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
just
saying.
For Scruggs.
That's what I'm saying. I'll revisit Buster Scruggs quite a bit over any of the other ones is what I'm saying.
All right. So, anything else to say, guys?
Well, what are our ratings?
Our ratings, I guess.
Oh, yeah, our ratings.
Nolan?
I gave it a solid 8 out of 10. I mean,
respectable.
Great film. I consider anything above a 7 to be at least very good. So, 8. Very high praise for me.
Yeah. I haven't rated this film yet. You guys logged it on Letterboxd. I'm between a 6 or a 7. I love the first 4 vignettes quite a bit. But the reason I can't give it any higher is just because the last 2, which do take up half the film, I was just pretty bored for and just not into it. So if this was just the first 4 vignettes, like I would probably give this like an 8 out of 10 as well. But just those second 2 just brought it down for me, which was really unfortunate because when it started with the Ballad of Buster Scruggs, I was so on board and I was just loving it. But
I think both you guys got to watch The Gal Got Rattled again because
maybe
I like it a lot.
I really love that one.
There's enough about the other ones that I like more. Like
yeah, that's fair.
I
was the same. I like them all.
Going off, well, I originally gave this film a 10 out of 10, but I've since like just gone to a 9 out of 10 just because for Coen standards, there's other Coen Brothers I love more. This is my favorite movie of the year so far. Spoiler for when we do our top 18 podcasts.
Well,
that may change.
That could change.
I still haven't seen a lot of movies.
Did we cut Victor off?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, we're okay. We're good.
You're good.
He's being careful here because
I'm careful because I don't know if you guys listen to our podcast on top 5 PTA characters. I got a little drunk. Yeah. I got a little drunk, not gonna lie, and I interrupted a few times. I love Boogie Nights, and like I just wanted to keep going on about Boogie Nights. So I just wanted to apologize for some of my interruptions toward the end, even though like I'm definitely overreacting.
It doesn't fucking matter. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
like no one cares. This is just a conversation, honestly.
But yeah, like I said, I love too meta here. Yeah, I'd love to rate it higher, but just the last like hour and 15 minutes.
You're a hack.
I'm sorry, I was not into it. Love the first 4, but yeah.
Yeah, maybe I'm the hack because I just fucking I have the bias here.
Yep.
Like going into this movie,
I'm a little biased too. I feel, but I thought.
No, I think you're less biased.
I'm less biased as you, obviously, but
yeah.
I still fucked with it because I love the Coens.
Yeah, it's just like the way I start off this conversation. I was told even before this movie came out that it was legitimately made for me. Like when when my one friend saw this headline, he's like, "This is the most Kirk headline in the history of
movie
film
news.
Blogs." Yeah. I'm just like, yes.
One thing I want to say that I love is that the Coen Brothers do not give a shit. They do not give a fuck. Like, they made Hail Caesar, and Hail Caesar got a lot of criticism. You know, there was a lot of praise for it too, but a lot of criticisms as well for being, like, really strange, even compared to the rest of their films in their catalog. But I loved how they went to this right after Hail Caesar, because it was almost even bolder, in my opinion.
Yeah, I could see that. I feel like Hail Caesar to them was like a passion project. But, okay, let's keep this in mind, all right? I'll divulge this now. The reason we covered top 5 PTA characters our first week is because at some point we're going to be covering each of our favorite directors, our top 5 characters from each of our directors. So we start off with Victor's PTA because that's the one we've seen most of his films. Next, we're going to tackle Nolan's favorite director, David Fincher, and our top 5 characters from his films because that's the next one we've seen the most of. And then finally, we'll be covering my favorite directors, the Coen Brothers, eventually.
Yeah,
we'll get
that'll
there.
take a lot more homework.
Yeah,
than the Fincher
we'll have some.
Well, they have the most films.
That's what I mean.
Speaking of homework, our next podcast is going to be on Suspiria. So
both Suspirias.
Both Suspirias. If you have not seen both Suspirias, highly recommend the original from all of us. I'm speaking for all of us on that one.
Great film.
And the next one, the new one, is definitely has had some massive attention. So none of us have seen it yet, unfortunately. Yeah. But by next podcast, that will have been changed. So go do your homework to our listening audience. And then after that, we'll be tackling the Orson Welles Netflix releases, both The Other Side of the Wind and the documentary
They'll Love Me When I'm Dead.
Film, They'll Love Me When I'm Dead. So those will be our next 2 podcast releases. Stay tuned to the Film Lads.
And bye-bye.